This brush is the only brush I'll be using for today's paintings, and it actually costs less than $1. Let's see what it can do.
So I'm gonna start out this painting from big to small. First, I'm blocking in the sky color, which is a very light blue. Then with a bright yellow, I paint in the trees starting from the ones that are further away and also in the lighter area. I'm using the side of the round brush to fill in big blocks of color, while for the edges where there's going to be more leaf-looking stroke, I'm using the tip of the brush to create those small little details. Recently, I got a lot of questions regarding what brush should a beginner buy to start out their gouache painting journey. And I usually told them that they probably only need a big flat brush and a small to medium sized round brush. For gouache, and especially in painting landscape, you really don't need that many brushes because each brush can create so many strokes. Using the side of the brush, you can block in bigger area, whereas using the tip of the brush, you can paint very small details. When you're just starting out and you're on a very tight budget, spending more money on brushes wouldn't create much of a difference. Your money would worth a lot more if you use it to spend on higher quality paints and higher graded paper. And that's why today I decided to make this video to show you what you can do with just one round brush. And it doesn't have to be a very fancy, expensive round brush. I got the one I'm using right here in a pack of 12 brushes for only $9, which means that each of those brushes only run about 75 cents. Okay, so after I put in the highlight yellow part, I'm using a bright orange mixture to block in the mid-tone color for the trees and the grass. As you can see right here, I'm jumping back and forth a lot just so that I can paint in all the area that using this color so I don't have to mix the same color twice. And then mixing a darker mixture, I'm moving into more of a shadow area on these yellow trees. For the grass on the ground, to make the stroke thinner and more pointy, I'm holding my brush more vertically to make use of the round brush very tip part. And even when I'm adding details, I'm not explicitly painting every grass blade or every leaf. Instead, I'm focusing on where the highlight area, where the mid-tone area, and where is the shadow area. As you can see here for the trees, instead of painting every single leaf, I just block in the highlight yellow part, the mid-tone orange, and then the dark brownish shadow. Each of this area is kind of like a continuous block on its own, yet it still looks like the trees has a lot of details to it. And I'm going to use that same concept everywhere in this painting for the ground, the grass, and even the rocks and the trees you will see later on. Okay, so our painting has been looking very warm. So now I'm adding cooler colored trees to create some contrast. I'm still keeping the tree that's supposed to be further away slightly lighter, and as I move more toward the trees that are closer to it, it will be darker. Also, for the light and shadow color as a whole in this painting, my highlight part will generally have a warmer color temperature, whereas for the shadow area, I would use color with cooler temperature like purple, blue, or green. And I'm working from light to dark because it is slightly easier to put a dark color overlay a light color than to make a light color being opaque and bright enough on a dark background. I'm making sure that the trees in the shadow also have a lighter and a darker part. The less monotone your painting is, the more 3D it would look and the more interesting it will be. Now I mix a darkish brown color to paint in the tree trunks. And again, to make my stroke smaller and thinner, I'm holding my brush more vertically. As the tree trunk gets closer to the foreground, it will turn into the shadow part, thus making it darker and cooler in color temperature. Now I'm adding some more leaves that are part of the shadow. I also have the real-time version of this video along with many other paintings on my Patreon, so check out the link in the description if you're interested. The ground here looks pretty monotone, so I'm adding a little bit more texture onto the ground, makes it look more interesting. And to create some contrast with the warmth in the painting, we're using some dark green for the grass and the shadow at the very bottom part. Just like what we've done so far and everything else, we want these grass to also have some darker part and some lighter part to make them look more three-dimensional. After that, I'm adding some lighter part on the rocks along the path.
This brush, this brush, this brush, this brush.